Hello, everyone, and I'm going live today because there's some breaking news again, a live feed in the Stepan Sterns, the Madeline Soto case. And we all know yesterday they came up with the indictment for first-degree murder. He was supposed to appear again today in court, and again he opted out of appearing in court. I'm going to play a little bit of yesterday's um, press conference in regards to what was going on with the indictment.
And seeking justice for Madeline Soto, for her family, and so this the community can have closure in this case. The defendant will appear at initial appearances, I believe probably the next day or two. Then the case will proceed down its normal path, and we'll try to keep you abreast of how the case is moving, as well as you probably ask us questions to make sure that we are providing that proper information to keep you abreast of how the case is going down the normal path of the criminal justice system. I'd like now to introduce Chief of Police Betty Holland, and for her to provide comment.
Now, this is yesterday's press conference, obviously. But Stern was supposed to appear today again, and he punked out.
Thank you, State Attorney Mr. Bain. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the investigators and the other agencies that assisted us in uncovering the evidence to move forward with this case. We know this case has gained significant public attention because Madeline had just celebrated her 13th birthday and was just a child. The evidence shows an individual that was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing. For the 4 days following her disappearance, the entire community was actively looking to find Madeline safe and alive. Tragically, on March 1st, Madeline's remains were found. Our detectives have worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to Madeline's disappearance and death. With the collaboration of the state's attorney's office, we prepared the case for the grand jury that was heard today. The grand jury determined that our department secured enough evidence to obtain a first-degree murder indictment. We appreciate each grand jury member for their careful consideration. We want to thank the diligent work of the state's attorney's office, the medical examiner's office, and our other law enforcement partners who assisted with this investigation. Your expertise and dedication were instrumental in uncovering the truth. The indictment signifies a crucial step forward in our quest for justice and a testament to our commitment to honoring Madeline's memory. We will now take questions. Right, I'm going to defer to the state's attorney.
Good afternoon. Although an indictment has been returned this afternoon, it is still an open and ongoing criminal investigation. So much of this information cannot be disclosed until Mr. Stern's attorney, if he does so, elects to participate in discovery, and then all of you in the media know how to go about seeking information through public records.
Not that we've uncovered. State Attorney?
Again, all questions about the facts of the case are not subject to disclosure because of public records laws at this time. Once his attorney participates in discovery, then you can make public records requests through your normal channels as you do in other cases. At this time, the only person being charged is Stepan Sterns. And again, this is not over. There is an ongoing investigation to uncover more evidence, and therefore we can't comment. There's going to be the same response on any question about the facts of the case. Through the facts of the case.
So with any death case that is reviewed by my office, when it's determined to be a homicide, we have to look at the statutory aggravating factors that are laid out in our Florida law. Once we've determined that we have sufficient evidence to prove those factors to the proper evidentiary standard, then we had to have to talk about whether this is a death penalty case. And that's a discussion that we're still going to be having for the next couple of weeks to make sure that we're making a legal decision that's appropriate in this case. I'll leave that for Mr. Will.
Cannot comment on whether Mr. Stearns has been doing anything. He has counsel. And as far as plea offers, no, there are no plea offers made on the open case. You can address that question with the indictment that should be on the clerk's website if it's not already.
I'm going to have to defer to the state's attorney.
Again, any question about the facts of the case, it's going to be the same answer. Once his attorney participates in discovery, the public records laws change, and you all will be able to get a lot of that information.
Again, folks, if you're just tuning in, Stepan Sterns is supposed to appear in court today. It seems like he's going to bag out of that again. He's obviously cowardly, not appearing and facing the music for the horrific crimes that he is alleged to have committed.
As far as the 60 counts that are already filed against Mr. Stearns, that is solely involving Mr. Stearns as a defendant. Not to those 60 charges.
It's a family working with the investigation.
It's an ongoing investigation. Can't comment on who's working with us.
Okay. This will be the last question. I'll let you get that in. What was it?
It's facts of the case. Can't comment on it.
So thank you all so much for coming out today. If you need this gentleman's name, it is Will J, Willjay. He is our homicide unit chief for the state attorney's office for the 9th Judicial Circuit. Thank you all so much for coming out today.
So not a lot of information given forth in this press conference. We understood.
And back here
Is
with you
JB
live
back
in
live?
the Stream Center as we continue, of course, to monitor this live feed from Osceola County Court. You can see that there's a gentleman seated there on the top left-hand portion of your screen. This is live from Wesh. Wesh also the news agency reporting that Stearns has elected to not be present in court today, which is in line with his previous decisions to not appear in court. And so we're trying to activate a poll here, and hopefully we can get this poll up and running here shortly. And there it is. Okay. So I want to bring in this poll. I'll bring in this poll live.
So an attorney who represents Stearns is going to appear, supposed to appear at 1 p.m. For court business. Stearns was supposed to appear again. There's 2 days in a row that he's elected not to appear in court. Now, this is the live feed from JB.
Okay. So this is now live on our website, www.heyjb.live. In fact, you just saw it there kind of load up for the first time. You can see the vote count at 0. Does Stearns' decision not to appear in court yet impact your view of this case? Let's break this down for a second. I've never been charged with a felony. I've never been charged with murder. I've never sat in a jail cell without the opportunity to bond out. That is what Stearns is facing. This is a man who is being charged with a heinous crime, first-degree murder, and the opportunity, the option is on the table for prosecutors to pursue the death penalty, of course, after a conviction. In this case, if they do reach a conviction. Stearns is sitting in a jail cell right now in Osceola County. And this is, I believe, the 4th time, and I'll check my notes later, but it's around the 4th time that he had the opportunity to leave his jail cell and appear in court, to be part of the process, to stand there and understand just the how the legal process is going to play out in the weeks and months ahead to be part of his defense. He is electing to not stand there in his defense. He's electing to sign paperwork to waive his right to appear. And he's done this now multiple times, choosing instead to be represented by the public defender. So I'm curious with our audience, and this is why we do this interactively. I'm asking our audience, does Stearns' decision not to yet appear in court impact your view at all of this case? Does it change your opinion of the suspect? Yes or no? Very simple question.
You know, I think that what he's asking, absolutely, it changes the way you feel about the suspect. He's a coward. I mean, the guy, look at the crimes he's accused of committing, and he's not going to show up to court. Just absolutely horrific. How does he do that? How does he, first of all, the death penalty is on the table, and he has to face the music very soon. I'm going to play this. This was from yesterday when this news first broke.
Breaking news we were just following over outside of the Osceola County Courthouse again. Stepan Sterns now facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Now we hear from State Attorney Andrew Bain.
February 26th of this year, and discovered dead 4 days later. I know the community and the media have been anxious for us to give an update on this case, and this is an opportunity for us to do that. For the last 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks actually, the Kissimmee Police Department and my office have been working closely to go over every piece of evidence that we could gather in this case. It was a voluminous and a lot of evidence to get through during that time, but we were successful in getting through it and making sure that we were able to provide the best case we could. Today, we're announcing that Stepan Sterns has been indicted by the grand jury on first-degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto. We presented the case to the grand jury. They returned an indictment earlier today. There has been some questions as related to the length of investigation. I just want to let you know again that my office and the Kissimmee Police Department have been working vigilantly in making sure that we had every opportunity to get every piece of evidence that we could. I want to thank the Kissimmee Police Department and their tireless efforts. They've done an amazing job in the heavy lift that we've asked them to do, as well as the prosecutors that have been assigned to this case and making sure that we got every piece of evidence reviewed and gathered in this case. While death investigations usually take around 5 to 6 weeks or longer, we were able to get this one done relatively quickly and get the case to the front of the grand jury, like I said earlier today, to return the indictment against Mr. Stepan Sterns. The death penalty in this case, we have not decided to what decision we're going to make in that case.
Again, folks, this is from yesterday. There was supposed to be another live court appearance today in regards to this case. So far, that hasn't occurred. It appears that Stepan Sterns is going to send his attorney again and not appear himself. JB Buno from WFLA was covering this live potential court appearance again that Stepan Sterns chose not to show up.
How this works, folks, is that you open up a browser on any device, computer, laptop, tablet, phone, and you go to www.heyjb.live, and you'll see this free one-tap, no sign-up poll where you can just click on the poll, yes or no, and your vote will register directly here into the Stream Center. This is relatively new for us, our venture into interactive journalism, to be able to ask you questions pertaining to the stories that we cover. So you see it here on the left side of your screen. This is exactly what it looks like right now on a phone. So if you're in the United States or Canada, go to www.heyjb.live to cast your vote. You can also submit a VIP comment there. And then if you're joining us from beyond the US or Canada and YouTube audience, yeah, I'm looking at you because you guys join us from around the world. Go to world.heyjb.live. But really the big thing that we're focusing in on right now is the actual court feed. It's expected to begin at 1 o'clock Eastern. That's 2 minutes from right now. And we are expected to hear the public defender.
Well, it's actually past. It's 1:06 right now. So We want to hear the public defender
appear
who's
in his place. Sorry,
representing
screen share.
Stepan Sterns.
All right, so there in the top left-hand portion of your screen, the inmates that are on the docket for the 1 o'clock hour are filing into court. And now, not expected to be among them based on the Wesh report is Stepan Sterns. Now, is there a chance that he had a last-minute change of heart? I mean, probably not, but for what it's worth, folks are filing into the courtroom for the beginning of the 1 o'clock court appearance of courtroom 5F in Osceola County. So let's see how many people are here. It's about 24 accused individuals. And Sterns is still on the list. But again, Wesh, our NBC sister station in Orlando, reporting that Sterns has elected not to appear. Now, the paperwork of him signing the waiver for his right to not appear has not yet appeared in the court system because that's probably going to appear this afternoon. However, we've been told by Wesh that he has elected again, I think for the 4th time, to not appear. We'll get to your comments here.
You know, folks, this whole thing of Stepan Sterns not appearing, he's a coward. I mean, it's very cowardly. Dude, face the music, you know? You did horrific things. Show up in court. You're going to have to show up eventually. But this is ridiculous that he's not showing up. He's not showing his face. Just zero character. What you don't expect zero character from someone who hurt a child.
Momentarily. YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and the VIP comments coming in on KJB.live. We'll get up to as many of those as possible. We'll try to get our vote count up as much as possible.
So it's just going to be the attorney that represents Stepan Sterns. Stepan Sterns apparently has filed a waiver at choosing not to show up at court for this court hearing.
So far on that poll, we've got, let's see here, 91 votes. And we'll look at the results here in a bit.
You know, one of the big questions I have, and I'm convinced that Jennifer Soto is going to be charged down the road. And I just cannot believe all of the things that we know, all of the things that we found out, that Jennifer Soto has no knowledge of any of this. And I really feel that they're probably building a case against her. And to think that she knew none of this, to me, is not believable. It's just not believable whatsoever. Again, we're waiting for the attorney for Stepan Sterns to show up.
There is some audio coming in. It's just really low. Let's everyone just kind of watch your eardrums for a minute. I'm going to boost this.
Please complete, to the best of your knowledge, the financial affidavits provided by the correction officer. An application fee for the services of appointed counsel will be assessed. If you do not speak English.
Okay, so that is some stray audio coming in from the hearings for the other inmate. I think that's coming in from either the judge or that's coming in from the clerk, or that could be coming in from just the other podium on the other side of the room, because clearly the courtroom camera feed is focused in on this podium, but there's some stray audio coming in from a microphone elsewhere in this courtroom, but it does not appear to be of any significant value for us just yet.
So if you're just tuning in, what's supposed to happen was Stepan Sterns was supposed to have a court appearance today, sort of a surprise court appearance with his public defender. And apparently, Stepan Sterns has signed a waiver and he's not going to appear, but his attorney is going to appear. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen in court this early afternoon. And this is WFLA.
Dan JB here with you in the Stream Center, wherever you're watching from. Happy Thursday to you, folks. Hope that you're well wherever you are watching from on the live stream. Of course, we're live right now on WFLA.com, our app, ajb.live, Facebook, and YouTube. Hello to our audience tuning in and participating in the comments section over there. Again, awaiting details on now we have yesterday was a significant step in the pursuit of justice for Madeline Soto. Now, one thing I wanted to note there in the press conference that we were to play back in its entirety from yesterday, just a short time ago, is that I was able to hear enough that it sounds as if that there was a question focused on either Jennifer Soto or whether or not there's going to be, if they anticipate any other arrests in this case. And really the messaging has remained consistent. I read a lot of the comments on YouTube last night after our 2 live streams that we did yesterday. And the volume of comments focused on Jen Soto, Madeline's mother, was overwhelming. And so the question has been asked, and repeatedly we're getting it from Chief Holland, we're getting it from officials in general, that that really what they're saying is that right now Stearns is the only one charged and the only one, of course, that that they have filed anything against him.
So, he's just really repeating things that we already know. Of course, everyone is waiting for this investigation to see who else, if anyone, is going to be implicated in this case. And I think all of us, as JB was saying, all of us are expecting to hear that Jennifer Soto is going to be charged down the road. I think that's almost like a given. But right now, no one is saying that. No one is saying that Jennifer Soto is charged. When you ask any of the people, any of the players from law enforcement, and this is part of the press conference from yesterday, they won't give you an answer in regards to that. Will she be charged? Nothing about the case will they answer. And this is from yesterday. I'll play a little bit of this.
We're going to continue those discussions going forward, and we'll let you know again when we make that decision as to whether we're going to seek the death penalty in this case. I want to thank the grand jury for their hard work and their efforts in making sure that we're taking this first step in seeking justice for Madeline Soto, for her family, and so the community can have closure in this case. The defendant will appear at initial appearances, I believe probably the next day or two. Then the case will proceed down its normal path, and we'll try to keep you abreast of how the case is moving, as well as you probably ask us questions to make sure that we are providing that proper information to keep you abreast of how the case is going down the normal path of the criminal justice system. I'd like now to introduce
so this again was from yesterday. There's no new news as far as there was supposed to be a court appearance today from Stepan Sterns and JB, who I'll go back to right now. It's supposed to be a live feed from the courtroom, and here it is here
with this investigation. But this investigation is open. They've repeatedly emphasized this is still an open and ongoing investigation and that nobody has been officially ruled out. Now, how does that compare to other court cases or other, investigations, homicide investigations, or any investigations in general that we've covered here on Stream in the past? In other cases, you will have law enforcement, law enforcement agencies, say that somebody's cooperating with the investigation and they're not believed to be, connected to the crime that they're focused on in any way. It won't be a clear exoneration of that person but they will at least address and say specifically, we do not believe that this person is connected to the crime at all at this stage in the investigation. We don't have that in this case. Basically, the message from day one, since we've been covering the story, has been very consistent that the investigation is open and ongoing, and no one has been ruled out. Everyone that is connected to the case is still technically on the table. That's how I read it. I think that's how most people are reading it. So it has to be stated. We have the two primary people connected to this case, that being Stepan Sterns, who has not cooperated with the prosecutors. He's not talking. He's just really communicating through his public defender. And then you have Jennifer Soto, who, according to investigators, is cooperating fully with the investigation, though they have not mentioned her as a suspect or a person.
You know, folks, whether they've mentioned Jennifer Soto as a suspect, as a person of interest, or whatever, that doesn't matter. They can always charge her. You know, she's cooperating. At this point, I would think her cooperation would include an attorney. And if it doesn't, at some point, they could still pull the trigger and lock her up too. And I fully expect that. So the conjecture of, oh, she's not a suspect, she's not this, she's not that, that's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Of interest in any way. They're just repeatedly emphasizing that no one is off the table, so to speak, when it comes to this active and ongoing investigation. Let's just check in with the poll and see what we've got there.
You know, the poll, he's just asking, it's just really a time filler. It's basically about Jennifer Soto. In essence, do you think she's going to be charged? And I think that I think we're all expecting that to happen. You know, this is from Fox from yesterday. I want to put something else up there so we don't have to just keep hearing the redundancy of what's going on here. See if we could share the screen here. This again was from yesterday. Let me play it up on the screen.
Some breaking news right now out of Florida. And after nearly 2 months since the body of 13-year-old Madeline Soto was recovered, there's now charges for the arrest, the murder charges for Stepan Sterns. I do want to put up this here on live now from Fox, courtesy of our Fox 35 team. Stepan Sterns charged with the murder amid the investigation into the death and disappearance of that 13-year-old girl from Osceola County. Sterns is the boyfriend of Madeline Soto's mother. Jennifer Soto is charged with first-degree murder. According to court records, a grand jury indicted Sterns for the death of Soto on Wednesday, according to documents. All right, let's take you out to some comments there from officials in Florida, including State Attorney Andrew Bain, Kissimmee Police Chief Betty Holland, and much, much more. Let's listen in here to this from just a bit ago.
Okay, we've heard this numerous times before. I'm not going to put you through hearing this again. Basically, what they've told us in these press conferences, these law enforcement press conferences, what they've told us really is nothing. They've told us a big nothing burger. You know, and I was expecting to hear in this live stream today that Stepan Sterns would show up in court. Again, we're hearing that he's not going to show up in court. He's going to sign a waiver, and his attorney is going to show up for him.
And the vote counter there is now at 120 votes. Again, you can vote now on kjb.live, and we will and we'll take a look at the results after we have the public defender represent Sterns in court, again, on the first-degree murder charge in the Madeline Soto homicide investigation. A lot of unknown with this case. Tons of unknown. We don't know how Madeline died, and we likely will not find out cause of death for a considerable amount of time. It could come out in, pretrial discovery. It could come out during trial itself. But as a reminder, the autopsy report is not going to be released to the public. That's due to the fact that the victim in this case is a minor. So there will be no autopsy where the medical examiner details look, we've seen in so many other cases, we get autopsy reports. Sometimes they can be disturbing for some people. It depends on the nature of the autopsy report, but we're not expected to get an autopsy report in this case. In fact, they've emphatically stated that it will not be coming out. It will, of course, remain private for the time being.
Folks, I want to ask you guys in the chat, how many, if you think that Stepan Sterns, not showing up in court, does that have an effect on how you feel about his innocence or guilt? And if you think that it does have an effect on how you view this case, put a 1 in the chat. If you think him not showing up in court at all has no impact at all, put a 2. I'm just curious. And I mean, this really has no impact on the case because obviously there hasn't even been a jury chosen for this case yet. It's in its most preliminary phases. In fact, just yesterday was the indictment for murder in the first degree. So it's moving along quite slowly.
Or I should say the cause of death will come out at some point, but the actual autopsy report itself is not expected to become public due to the fact that Madeline Soto was a minor, 13 years old at the time of her death. So that's really important to remind our audience that that we aren't going to find out some of the details that you would expect in other cases when it comes to a medical examiner examining the condition of the remains. Another thing, we just don't know why.
I don't know, where he's getting. We don't know why. What do you mean why? The guy has 60 charges of SA. He may have been trying to silence her. He murdered her. We know that now. Well, he's innocent till proven guilty. I get in trouble all the time for not suggesting that. But this is a classic case of SA. And D-Mart from the chat, he is already guilty of the 60 charges on the phone, but not showing up in court enhances my negativity toward him by a lot. I agree. I don't know why he's not showing up in court. Layla Nadu, I think the details be leaked somehow. Amber Gloria, he's a pussy. Nobody cares what he chooses to do now. Well, you put that very succinctly and very strongly. Schmitty, no effect on how I feel. I think maybe they're working a deal. Maybe he's talking more about the mother removing death penalty. Don't know. Schmitty, I don't see that. I think they really, I think they want him, Whether Jennifer Soto is brought into this case, I would be shocked if she's not criminally charged in this case. I feel that I said this really early on in this case, to believe that she had nothing to do with this just does not pass any part of the smell test, as we say. It's just horrific. And the Kissimmee Police and the State Attorney General's office, they've all done a tremendous job on this case, and they're not letting anything out. They're not releasing anything in regards to this case. We know here we are talking about, here we are with JB live from WFLA, hoping that there would be Stepan Sterns appearing in court today for the second day he was supposed to appear after yesterday's grand jury indictment. And again, he's taking a poll because there's nothing going on right now. We're supposed to have some court action right now. And I think this case is so clear. It's so transparent what has occurred here. And we're just seeing the worst of the worst of a defendant charged with a horrific crime like this.
No idea why. Now, Chief Holland did say in the press conference that I thought was very, very interesting. And I'm paraphrasing here, but said that Madeline had that Stepan Sterns was trusted. There was a level of trust. We talked about this yesterday on stream, that there was trust as part of the dynamic here with Sterns being the live-in boyfriend, and that trust was betrayed. And the victim in the case ended up being a 13-year-old girl because of that betrayal of trust. That's what investigators are saying here. And so how that connects to motive remains unclear. We hope to, of course, find out why little Madeline Soto was murdered. First-degree murder, premeditated. It's stated in the documentation in the court system. It is, again, this is a premeditated murder that occurred. So why why somebody would want to harm and
Annette Muniz question: why does he have the privilege of saying yes or no to appear in court? I would imagine, Annette, that at some point the judge could order him to appear. At some point, we're not at that point yet, but I would say when they do pick a jury, when this case goes to trial, which it seems like it's going toward that direction, that a judge will then order him to appear in court. Right now, I believe he can have his attorney respond to court on his behalf, and he's not being forced. Heather, premeditated, that's like such a given. What do you mean Of course it is. I mean, with those other 60 charges, how do we even bring up premeditation? I think it's just it's just ridiculous to even bring that up. That's premeditated. Well, he's got 160. He's got 60 charges on his cell phone of SA. Do you think the murder was premeditated? Yeah, I think so. Schmitty from the chat: the groomer of a mofo was going down. I'm pretty confident of that. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, that's for sure. Whiskey Boots, he's a sicko. That's for sure. Annette Muniz, thank you for answering. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. If I can answer, I'll answer. If I don't know, I'll also tell you I don't know. Belinda from the chat: Schmitty, do you also suspect that he shared photos, turning or pleading a deal to expose whomever is involved? Wow. You know something, Belinda? That's a distinct possibility. And people have suggested that, is there a ring of these types, And is he, although the charges against him are so severe, I don't see any district attorney, any state attorney general trading off anything, making any kind of deal with him whatsoever. So in that way, I can't see that. Roseanne, not showing up is becoming a trend. This vile individual, Adam Montgomery and Shonda Vander Ark, was sick her last day of trial. Cowards, all of them. Unaliving children with no backbone. Roseanne, I think you're 100% correct. Paula Apadesano, I think the mother will be charged with accessory after the crime. Paula, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I want to play something from yesterday, again, just to keep this rolling along so we just don't keep discussing the same exact things, because the court proceedings have yet to begin.
7.5 weeks, actually. The Consumer Peace Department and my office have been working closely to go over every piece of evidence that we could gather in this case. It was a voluminous and a lot of evidence to get through during that time, but we were successful in getting through it and making sure that we were able to provide the best case we could. Today, we're announcing that Stepan Sterns has been indicted by the grand jury on first-degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto. We presented the case to the grand jury. They returned an indictment earlier today.
Okay, guys, we know that. This is getting a little bit redundant here. We know all this stuff, that there was yesterday an indictment by the grand jury, and it's the indictment by the grand jury is for murder first degree. And so far, the reason we came by today is that Stepan Sterns was supposed to again appear in court today. However, it didn't happen. Let's see if anything's going on with WLNA. Again, we're taking this live. JB, is there anything happening right now?
Like, how can you guys hear? I'm very curious to those of you at home. Can you guys hear that super low audio of the judge reading out details? Yeah, let me know in the comment section if you guys can hear that audio. Really, really fascinating. But I'm sorry to circle back for a second as we're going to monitor this closely. Yesterday, we're talking about Stearns not appearing in court on those 60 charges. Then out of nowhere, the capital murder charge is filed in court. A 4 o'clock press conference is scheduled. Then initial appearance is scheduled for, we have the next day today, and then Stearns waiving his right to appear again. It's just been a whirlwind 24 hours in this case. But Stearns has not yet appeared in a court of law in his defense on any of the 61 charges that he faces in connection to this investigation. So that's a theme, a recurring theme here on this story. Yeah, people saying that they can faintly hear it, barely hear it. No, it's inconsequential audio for us, so I'm not going to boost it, because if I boost it, let me explain how audio works. I can boost it very easily, but if I boost it, it'll be boosted by probably about 20 decibels. And then when those feeding this feed to us then decide to do the boosting on their end because the Stearns case is up next, it will blow out your eardrums. And I that's happened on stream in the past, and people lose their minds over, if you're watching it on your TV at home, it'll go from, correct audio to blasted out audio.
So, folks, so far there's no appearance by Stepan Sterns' attorney. That's what's supposed to happen today. Again, last minute notification that Stepan Sterns was supposed to appear in court today at 1 p.m. That didn't happen. Apparently, he signed a waiver saying that his lawyer is going to show up for him, represent him in court. And so far, we haven't seen that either. The attorney hasn't shown up, and we see other inmates in the court. We don't know when this is going to go forward, but that's what we were here for today, to see if there would be any changes. Again, yesterday there was grand jury indictment for murder in the first degree, and along with those other 60 charges, that's what he's facing. And Stepan Sterns has yet to appear in court, and we're not confident that anything of any real consequence is going to happen today in this court of law. But let's see what we could see today, if there's any if there's going to be any court action today. And here we go. It's
audio, and it sounds awful, and I don't want anyone's TVs breaking because their speakers blew out, because we were listening to cases that have nothing to do with the case that we're live for here today. So hopefully that reasoning lands for folks watching here on the live stream. Not going to boost it. Let's go to some other questions and comments as we pay attention to this.
I'm going to, folks, I'm not going to sit here for this whole thing, because I think it's anticlimactic. We will definitely hear what occurred in court today. I thought we were going to be able to bring it to you live. Of course, yesterday was the murder in the first degree indictment. That was the first time in this case that we were told basically anything in the last few weeks, that he was just being held on those 60 charges of essay and the photos in his phone. And that is what was holding him in court. And there was no mention anywhere of a murder second-degree charge, murder first-degree charge. And that was based on the indictment yesterday. So, folks, if I hear anything and anything comes new from this case, I will bring it to you. And of course, I tried to bring this to you live today. It turned out not to be a big deal about anything. So, everyone, have a wonderful day. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
One episode just ain't enough.